confused with the onslaught of opinions and wonder, who should I listen to? My parents, coach, or the fans?
I don't like sideline coaching, like someone's dad coaching their son from the sideline. It's horrible. One of my best friends was on my team, and his dad always screamed at him to do something different than what my coach was saying, and it was horrible. He didn't know what to do, and he got really confused, and it was just a mess.
Yes, I do think parents try to coach their kids from the sidelines or even the team because they think they can see the whole field, so they know exactly who's open and what you're doing wrong because they're watching it from a different angle than you are.
I've talked to players who say they just can't play when their parents are there because they yell so much and it just brings them down.
Push up! Oh, girls, come on! Stay on it, stay on it! Why does everyone play okay. Go to the ball!
It's kind of hard for myself as a referee to focus on the game when you got parents going back and forth against each other and then yelling at their kids, especially when they do have a qualified coach that's teaching them one way and their parents are telling them to do another way. It's very difficult sometimes.
Get there. Keep it outside here. Pressure, Johnny, pressure. Keep it outside, target.
As a player, when parents try to coach me on the field, we are only supposed to listen to our coach. You know, our coach tells us not to listen to our parents, and they just want you to do what they think is best, and you have to play as a team and all together. And if each girl is listening to her parents, then it's just not going to work out very well, and everything's just going to go downhill. And as a ref, I can't stand when parents are on the side trying to teach their daughter what to do. They have a coach for that, and they just need to listen to their coach.
If growing pains are not enough to make a youngster feel out of place, embarrassment can feel like the end of their world. Humiliation can turn the most focused player into a disoriented child.
Get him off him! Come on! Why don't you call that whistle?
Those are the kids' parents out there, and if they're yelling and screaming, the kids get embarrassed about it, and I've had players turn around and, you know, Dad, would you just shut up, please?
Well, you screw up the game!
Scott, shut up! Shut up, CFC! Hey, CFC, play your game! Play your game!
I have been embarrassed once by my mom when I was about 10 or 11. I was on this team that I didn't get a lot of playing time because they had their favorites. And my mom, after the game, went and cussed out the coach, and it was really bad. And I felt really dumb because I really didn't have anything to do with it, and my mom took over.
Have I ever been embarrassed from a parent on the sideline? Well, yes, I have. From my mom. She keeps yelling out stuff, and most of the time she doesn't even know what she's talking about. So I just try to block that out of my mind when she's yelling it. But when my dad yells something, it's like just hustle, Jordan, or keep running, or dig, or something. I can listen to that, and I'll take that, but I won't take in what my mom says because it just distracts me.
Sometimes my dad can get pretty loud at like a call or so.
That's the same guy! Oh, that's the same guy. Come on! Talk to him again. Talk to him 3 times. He wasn't going for the ball at all.
I try not to think about it, and then when I keep running down the field, and then I hear like the ref whistle, and then I figured that he got my dad in trouble. But if he finds a couple calls that he doesn't think it's right, he'll start yelling, and I think it stops the game. And sometimes it embarrasses me, like knowing that's my dad out there.
Clearly, a parent can influence their child's mindset. In an already chaotic game, players are on the defense, ready for battle. With a simple gesture or word, adults can fuel the fire, adding intensity.
It's a little bit different when you hear your dad yelling at you to go get this kid and to beat him. And to do that, you're almost willing to do whatever it takes to beat a player. And
sometimes you're taking it a little too far, and it can really change and influence the way the game's being played, and it can go from a really normal type game to a game that quickly becomes out of control just by the way a parent acts.
When the parents act up, it affects the play of the game, and the fact that the parents don't realize that the least little bitty thing that's said is, hey, you know, don't let them push you off the ball, or get them next time. Well, the player starts thinking about that, and then as a result, I've found out that better than 60% of the time that player commits a foul within the next 2 minutes or the next time they come near somebody, because the parent has said, don't let them do that to you, so they don't want to let them do it, and they'll push them.
When parents start yelling, you might be on a total different part of the field, so you don't even know what they're yelling at. It might have been like a little shove on the other side of the field, so you're turning your head to see what's happening over there, and then the ball might be by you and you won't even notice it because you're so worried about what the parents are yelling about over there, and you might not even be anywhere near them.
You got him! Oh, you got him in the box! You got his jersey! How can you not see that right there? Even I can see him holding his shirt by the sleeve. I didn't think it was a new rule. Good job. Oh, man, they did it. Oh, good job, man. Good job. Hey, Mark. Good job. Oh, come on.
It would get me down a lot. Personally, if my mom started screaming, if I played on the field, I'd just be like, Mom, can you please be quiet? And if she didn't, then I'd just, I guess, get mad, and then I would ask to be subbed off and not play, and just be like, Mom, see, I won't play if you scream at me.
The same thought surfaces time and time again. In the wake of abuse and harassment, who will officiate?
That's a goal kick. No way! Becky is mad. Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding!
I've repped a few games. I've been on as a sideline as a linesman, and people talk to me. So sometimes it's not as bad, sometimes it's really bad. Like they'll yell and say that, you know, bad things like, you know, are you blind? Can you see that? And just things like that. And yeah, if it happened to me consistently, I wouldn't referee anymore either.
When parents yell things, I get very embarrassed because I don't know if my call was right or wrong, and I don't think it should really matter, but they should just let us play the game, and what I call it should be the final call. And I get very discouraged, like if I call it for red and they yell it's all blue, and I don't know if I was right, and I just think they should need to be quiet and just play the game.
Come on, ref, both ways, let's go!
I know how it's being a ref. If they keep yelling at you and you get like discouraged, you're not going to want to keep on reffing because you get discouraged and you don't really, you wonder why the fans and the coaches that they yell at you, because you know what, you made your call and you think that's right, and if you didn't think it was right, you wouldn't make the call.
I think a lot of refs quit because of parents on the sidelines and coaches, because they get really mean and obnoxious, and they say like, you stink and all this other stuff, and they tell them to get glasses and get off the field, and I just think it's really bad. Like, I would never want to be a ref.
A few simple measures can be taken to reverse the hostility that finds its way onto the field.
What would make soccer more fun for me is if the parents, even of opposite teams, got along at the games and maybe all sat together and then they cheered on for both teams, and it wasn't, I know there's going to be some competition, but maybe just at the games there wasn't, but at tournaments there was competition. So at the games it would just be like fun scrimmage, and it didn't really matter who won.
Well, I think we convinced more referees to stay with the game by like asking the parents and fans to settle down on the sidelines, as well with the coaches.
I think if everyone would just sit down and relax about the game and let the game keep flowing, I think the game would be a lot easier to play.
As a ref, the game of soccer would be more fun if the parents weren't so concerned about what I was doing on the field, but what their players are doing on the field, and they give their players more support about how they're playing, and they just pay attention to the game and just have fun.
If you were a parent, I would just tell you to be quiet during the game and let the kids play, and they would play so much better, and it would just make it a lot more fun. And in the long run, there would be a lot more kids playing soccer and a lot more refs reffing, and it would just make the whole program better.
At the end of the day, the message remains the same. From being supportive and respecting individuals to being even-tempered on the sideline, it's the words we speak and the way we present ourselves. We influence the game and the way it's played. We set the example. Attitude is contagious, so let's make it a positive one.
My mom actually doesn't usually yell at me, because if she does, I just tell her to be quiet because she has no reason to tell me what to do, because I'm playing the sport, and I don't think she knows how it feels to be out on the field. And
if they were more educated in the game, then they probably wouldn't yell out most of the stuff they yell, and so it might give the kids a better chance to do better in their game.
They're already stressed out, they're already mad at something, so they just get mad at someone else, something else, like a referee or a player or a coach when out on the field.
When you got parents going back and forth against each other and then yelling at their kids, especially when they do have a qualified coach that's teaching them one way and their parents are telling them to do another way.
You know, when I leave the field, I think, I'm sorry that team has to listen to that day in and day out. I'm sorry they have to go home with those parents. I really am. I mean, that's harsh to say, but the reality is they're going home to that environment, and does anyone really need to hear that? No.
If the parents or fans, if they don't have anything good to say, then don't say anything.
As my mom being a coach and a parent, I'm more comfortable with her being a coach because she's on the other side and she knows what she's going to say. And she knows if she says something bad that it could affect her whole team.
And I call that enthusiasm, so thank you for your enthusiasm. But they start to go and then they get boisterous, and then it filters down. You know, attitudes are contagious, and some people, it's not worth catching.